So there's only 80 days left until exam season starts, and I was thinking that maybe I'll do a little challenge where I do a topic every day for 80 days and try and break it down in as simple terms as possible. So today is day 1 out of 80 and we're going to go through bearings. So the first thing is you need to understand what bearings are. A bearing is literally just where something is in relation to something else. Sometimes you might hear old people say, oh, I've lost my bearings a little bit. Well, that's what it means, where something is in relation to something else. Bearings have 3 rules that you need to know, and they'll make a lot more sense when we do an example. But the first rule is bearings always start from north. The second rule is that they always go clockwise. And the third rule is that bearings must always have 3 digits. So if you have 40 degrees, you don't say 40 degrees, you say 040. Now let's do some examples. Okay, well there are our rules, and here is an example. What is the bearing of B from A? Now the wording in this example is really important. B from A means that we start at A, because when you go somewhere from somewhere else, you start at the place where you came from. So for the bearing of B from A, we need to start at A. So the first thing we do is we draw a north line, just to tell ourselves that this is north. And now we need to draw a line connecting A and B together. Now that we've got this drawn, all that we have to do is work out what the angle is from A to B. Now, here's a question for you. Do we go for this angle here, or do we go for the angle around here? Well, if you remember rule number 2 is to always go clockwise from north. So what that means is we've got to take this angle all the way round. We've got to work out what that angle is. Now, if I had a protractor, I could work out what this angle here is, and I've measured it, it's 80 degrees, okay? So this angle here is 80 degrees, and because I know in a circle you have 360 degrees, I know that the rest of this angle here is 280 degrees. So my bearing of B from A is 280 degrees, and that is 3 digits, so I know that that answer is correct. Okay, now let's take a look at that exact same example, but this time it says what is the bearing of A from B. So remember, when we are coming from somewhere, we must have started at the place that we're coming from. So therefore, we know we're starting at B and going to A. So the first thing we need to do is draw a north arrow here. So draw your north arrow, and the next thing you need to do is draw a straight line between the 2 points. And when that's done, all you need to do is take your protractor and go clockwise from north and measure this angle. And if you do so, you'll find that it is just 100 degrees, okay? So this one is 100 degrees. Now 100 degrees is 3 digits, so therefore that is our bearing of A from B. Now sometimes they might give you an example like this and ask you what is the bearing of A from B. So we know we're starting at B and we're going to A, but we have a diagram which is not to scale and we're not really supposed to use our protractors on it. How do we work this one out? Well, what you've got to realize is that both of these north lines are parallel to each other. So we can use the rule of co-interior angles to work out that this angle here is just 120 degrees. Okay, so that co-interior angle rule is that when you have angles which are co-interior, so the inside angles on parallel lines, both of those add up to 180 degrees. If you don't know that rule, then don't worry, we'll probably get to it in the next 80 days or so if enough of you want me to go through it. So I hope you've got your bearings right about bearings. If you found that video useful, then save it. And if enough of you guys save it, then I'll continue making them. And if you have any requests of what you'd like me to cover over the next 80 days, please drop them in the comments and I will do my best to get to those topics. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow.